Welcome to the bonus lesson on how to make an animated banner. Banners are very common elements to explainer videos. Here's a quick one I made. So we see it kind of wipes on, but it has a three-dimensional effect that there's kind of the foreground and the background ribbons. And you can probably figure this out on your own how to make this by now if you've watched all the tutorial videos, but I want to go through and show you how to make it step by step. Anyways, so we're going to go to right-click, New Solid, and we'll make a similar kind of a red banner in this one. Let's call that top. I'm going to click the rectangle mask and draw that out. And I'm going to do it on the bottom here, so we'll fake the opposite of what we just saw. This one is at the top, and so to fake the three-dimensionality of it, we put the tail ribbons on the bottom. So in this one, we'll just flip that around just to mix it up a little bit. So we'll duplicate what we just did, and we'll call that left, back, and we'll duplicate this mask so that we know it's the same height. We just want it to be a little shorter. And we'll leave that first one there as a reference point. And let's say we'll like almost split the difference here. Let's just go ahead and split the difference. So it's in that fourth, the fourth of this is where it intersects. So we'll leave that, and then we'll make a triangle. And to make a triangle, we will hit Shift and draw out a square, and then we'll double click on that and then rotate it. Holding Shift, we'll get it to rotate at 45-degree angles. And we'll bring this in as far as the points allow. And now, if you remember from earlier ones, we will subtract this area. So now we have that tail section. And we can go ahead and zoom back out here and we'll just fit this. And then I'll duplicate this and I'll say, oops, see, I double clicked it. So just to get back, we go up here to composition. I will hit enter to rename it, and I'll say right back. Okay, and now I'll hit scale, and I'll -100 in X to get it to flip on the other side. And now I can delete these first two masks that were just there as reference from the top one. I need to make sure, obviously, the top is on the top layer order here so that it shows up on top. Okay, so we're almost done. Now we just need to, let's duplicate this one again, and we'll call this right shadow. And I like to, just to leave the colors in the right spot, I like to do color corrections to change the value of stuff if I'm wanting to stay in the same range. Problem with curves is it kind of oversaturates it when you do it. So alternatively, instead of curves, you could use hue and saturation, which actually has a lightness kind of bar here. We could bring down the lightness a little bit. And then we can put this in where it needs to go, which is in front of the left. Turn off the top here 1 second. In front of the left and above the back ones. So let's turn that one back on so we can see where we're going. And then we'll bring up the shadow to there. Let's zoom in to see where we're going. And we just need to connect the dots here. So grab this, bring it to the edge, and move it up into position. And then we just need to connect the dots to the edge. We can actually select that one and then just move it down. And then we can just bring this corner down. So even though we can't see it right now, when we animate it, we'll see that, whoop, hit enter, so go back to composition. When we animate this, we'll see this for 2 frames. So we want to make sure that that makes sense based on what that looks like. So now we can just duplicate this layer, and because we know we made the other side even, we can just do the same scaling thing. Call this left shadow. Go to scale, uncheck the link, go -100, it'll flip to the other side. So now we have our ribbon and we need to animate it. And it's pretty simple, we just need to do more masks. So let's jump in and start animating. So we'll create another mask and we'll go right to the edge of where it'll start and we'll twirl it down so we can get the keyframe here and we'll animate the mask path. But I want it to start on maybe 10 frames in, so I'm going to slide that keyframe down to 10. All right, so let's go 4 or 5 frames in, and then we will animate this sucker wiping on. We'll hit enter, and we'll change this mode to intersect, okay? And now you can see that it reveals that tail. So we'll go to the keyframe where it ends, and then we'll go up to the left shadow. Let's bring that down where it's appropriate, and then we will draw another one. So we'll do subtract this time because we don't have that tail piece. It's already subtracting something that made us have to choose intersect. So now we can just use a straight subtract, and we will need to keyframe it again. And then let's go 2 frames forward, and then we'll wipe this off here, and then change this to subtract. So now we can see we've got that going. It looks like it's kind of coming at us. And so now on this, make sure we're on this last frame, then we'll do the top one. And we'll do the same kind of a subtract thing. So we'll start with the whole thing, and we will keyframe that. And then we will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe frames later, we will wipe this down there, and we'll change it to subtract. And now we can see that it does wipe it on as soon as that one comes at us, then that one starts. It's a little fast relative to how we started the tail, so I'm just going to pull those keyframes out a little bit. Okay, and then do the same thing for these last 2. I'll speed that up. So now we have our ribbon animated as if it's a 3-dimensional object. And if we wanted to put text on the ribbon, all we'd have to do is type in some text, and we could wipe it on with the ribbon, just with another mask. So now we have the text that looks like it's on there. And then later, if we, of course, wanted to move everything, we could create a new null. And I'll just move this down. And change this to a yellow. And then we can parent everything to it. And now we have our ribbon that we could, you could copy and paste this in every project and change the text. It's a great asset to have, and make it one time and then reuse it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and have fun with it. Thanks for following along, and hope you enjoyed the course.